All right, we're going to be completing our block construction this week. I've already finished all of my poppy seed blocks over here, and I need to finish my grunge blocks. So I'm going to show you how I pin my blocks to help get my seams to match nicely. And there's a lot that goes into your seams matching, including fabric cutting accuracy, piecing accuracy, but I do think that pinning in a way that works for you helps. So this is how I pin my blocks. It is probably not the right way because there is really not a right way. You pin how works for you. So a couple things I like to take into consideration is I always try to pin with the piece with the fewest seams on it on the bottom. Sometimes when you're sewing the piece on the bottom, sometimes these will get folded over, and then I always fix those, but it's annoying. So I try to have more seams on the top, fewer seams on the bottom. Right, so I always pin at the beginning. I'm going to pin at every seam intersection. Now here I'm going to just feel until they're lined up. And then I like to put a pin like this. Try not to pull a piece. And this also is holding the seam open in the back. So I'm going to pin like this. And then here there's not a seam to match, but I'm still going to pin there because it will help keep the seam allowance level on the top and the bottom. And it also helps distribute the fabric so that your block, it helps distribute the fabric. So I'll pin here as well. So I found pinning about every 2 inches when I'm piecing works pretty well. Let's do another one. I'm going to do this stack first, and then I'll do these. I probably don't have enough pins to do the whole stack, but okay, pin at the beginning. Use your fingers to kind of feel that these are lined up. Pin that seam open. Pin at the end. And then pin here. Okay, let's do one more. You're not going to get everything to match up 100% of the time because you're a person and not a robot. So that's okay. If you're finding that your pieces are different lengths, it probably has to do with your seam allowance. Remember we talked about checking to make sure you had a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance because they should be the same size. All right, so when you're done, you'll have a block like this. It should be 8.5 inches square, and now we're ready to sew our quilts together. If you found that your seams aren't staying pressed very well, what I like to do is stack my blocks like this and then put a big ruler on top with a book or two and just let it sit for a day. That actually really helps with keeping your seams pressed. So yeah, there we are.